We'll start with this question with Kristen. Most cities in California have art commissions. How do you feel about reactivity by appointing interested citizens? The question as written says, most cities in California have an art commission. How do you feel about reactivity by appointing interested citizens?
By reactivity?
Right, probably reactivating.
Reactivating the commission that we used to have?
Yes.
Sure. My understanding is that there was a commission that was active in Menlo Park up until a few years ago, and that commission stopped because there wasn't enough support from the community for it. However, I think we've seen recent changes in other commissions, specifically the Library Commission, where we were very low in commissioners for a while, and I think we made a concerted effort to have new commissioners and reach out to them, and now we have a full commission, and I think they do really important work. So I certainly, if there was enough community interest in having a commission, I would support it, and would, actively sort of seek to solicit volunteers from the community to do that and to find ways in which to support that as a community. I don't see that there's any downside to that.
Thank you. Drew?
Yeah, I wouldn't be initially opposed to the idea of reactivating the Art Commission. Like Kristen, I know that in recent months the Library Commission has had issues staffing up fully or having a full allotment of commissioners. So I'd be concerned that there was definitely support for that. And I'd be interested in, if we're starting an Art Commission, sort of pairing that with something else. Like, are we going to introduce some sort of art component for new development? I know some communities have that, like a 1% of 1% of the cost of development being provided for art. And so if we were going to pair the Art Commission with a very specific sort of task or new mandate, I think I would probably be more interested in it, again, on that lines, and also based on the fact that if it's clear that there is some community support for that.
Thank you. Rich?
Yeah, I would support an Arts Commission if there were enough volunteers to staff it, to sit on the commission. The idea right now, I think, is the Parks and Rec Commission kind of oversees it, and arts has fallen underneath that commission, so that there's still a discussion and it's still a part of the process, but it isn't a Arts Commission as a standalone because we didn't have the counts. I know there was in the past an Arts Commission that was led by some folks, Nancy Chillig, and some folks who did a lot of really interesting work with it, and they had difficulties with the funding, difficulties with finding ways to get art through, and they walked as a commission because of that, so they didn't feel supported. I don't know if that climate still exists. I don't think it does, actually. I think there's a lot of support here for it, but it does need to have the proper infrastructure and the people willing to do it, but I'd be all in if we did.
Thank you. Kirsten?
Thank you. I am in favor of an Arts Commission. I think it's a great thing to have. I think civilizations deserve art. You want art. I mean, without art, what are we, really? We had a great Arts Commission, but it didn't feel supported, and I remember everybody walked out, as Rich just brought up. There were problems with funding. One of the things that you can see from the days when we had the Art Commission is the mural at Willow and Middlefield on what was the Late for the Train building. It's a beautiful mural. I mean, it would be great to have more murals like that around. I'd also love to have pianos on Santa Cruz Avenue, for example, with a tarp over them. This is something that other cities have done. In rainy climates, they'll put tarps over them. And we were in London for the Olympics, and that's what they did. And you walk around a corner, and people are playing music, and it might start raining, and people move on to the next spot. But it's just beautiful, and it creates this spontaneous community on the street, and it's really lovely. So I think doing things like that, and that doesn't have to be expensive. That could be donated pianos if anybody has one. You can put it on Santa Cruz. But I would like to see more art. I'd love to see more art in the park. Art's always controversial. Think of on Willow Road the rock sofa. Here's some, yeah. So that's a controversial piece of art. Art is controversial, but the nice thing about it is that it creates dialogue, and that's the beauty of it. It gets people talking and stimulating the brain, and that's fun.
Thank you. Peter?
Yeah, and I certainly concur that it makes sense for us to revive the Arts Commission. I know recently we did talk with the Parks and Rec Commission, would like to see their subcommittee that I think formed around arts, in effect an arts subcommittee. Would like to see what they've come up with and perhaps encourage that. One interesting idea that recently was suggested to me was is to recreate the Menlo Park Gate that used to be on El Camino and was how our city got its name back 150 plus years ago. That gate survived until the 1930s and then was knocked over in a car accident. But there's something about, I think particularly with the revival of our friendship agreement and relationship with Galway and Ireland, might make a lot of sense for us to consider a new Menlo Park Gate, and I think that might have some merit. But again, it needs to go through a commission, and as Kirsten said, it's always going to be controversial. So, but I look forward to it.
Thank you. Kelly?
Well, art was one of the things we talked about in the 2008-2009 downtown El Camino visioning. This was one of the public benefits, along with additional bike and pedestrian amenities, facelift for the downtown, and so on, public benefits that were supposed to come to the residents as a part of the specific plan. Unfortunately, the incumbent council members that are running for re-election doubled the amount of development that developers could build by right with only having to go to the Planning Commission. So that is our negotiating power to get these kinds of public benefits. I think that this is a terrible flaw in the specific plan, and if I am elected, I will work to fix this gaping flaw in the specific plan and restore the city's ability to rein in unbalanced and out-of-character mega development.
Thank you.